So growing up, I always had like a side hustle. Ever since I can remember, I was always trying to do something on the side besides what I was supposed to do. And when I went into BC, I was a math and music double major. And then the summer before my sophomore year, my sister and we visited our grandparents in Ukraine, and we were completely blown away by the pastry scene. And so we came back to Boston, and we were like, bummer, there's like nothing similar here to what we saw there. And that's where the idea was born of, let's start something. And when I came home and I was like, Mom, Dad, I'm starting a business. And my dad was like, oh, great, like you're gonna have a lot on your plate. And my mom was like, she'll go places, you'll see. So those words kind of always stuck with me, and I'm just very thankful for the support of my family. I grew up in western Massachusetts in a town called Westfield, kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's 2 hours from Boston, so when I was at BC, my family lived there. So every weekend I would be going home 2 hours to spend time with my family. We're a very close family, and to bake. Sophomore year, I participated in the Start at Shea Accelerator program, which is, I think, the first time when I was like, I'm going to be serious about this business. Because prior to that, I was just baking for roommates, kind of having fun. And when I joined the program, it really put into perspective how to run a business, what I would need to accomplish in order to make it actually like a real career for myself. And I was like, I know how to bake. Like, I love baking, I know how to bake. I have no clue how to run a business. And she helped me through like the process of like connecting me with people who could teach me and who could give me advice. And I remember struggling with like the whole legal side of things, because there's so many rules and regulations from the city, from different city departments, to properly running a food business. And to this day, I still have mentors that I call up when I have questions, and I'm like, hi, like, do you have a minute so I can pick your brain? And the network that I've developed through that program and just through the Shea Center has been incredibly supportive. There's this one saying that one of my favorite mentors says to me all the time. He's like, eagles help eagles. So it's like, if you're a BC Eagle, you help a BC Eagle when you can. And when I was looking for a place to open a shop, I knew I wanted it to be near BC, because BC is like my comfort zone, you know, it's like where I go when I'm stressed, so many great memories and connections. So I didn't want it to be too far away from Boston College, and I also wanted it to be close enough to the city where we could easily deliver, because most of our client base is Greater Boston and Boston. So we kind of came across this space and it worked for us, and we rolled with it. This is of sentimental value, this little art piece. It's not very little, actually. It's rather large. It's a gift to us from a family that owns one of the oldest candy factories in the US. Then we have, here is our Cakes by the Slice. We have 4 different Cakes by the Slice daily in store, and 3 of our flavors are very traditionally Ukrainian. The honey is our best seller. Then we have our croissants. They're pastry croissants, so they're filled with a filling. For example, the chocolate, the salted caramel, the raspberry pistachio is my personal favorite. So that's this display case. And then over here we have more of the like bakery items, such as the babka. The poppy seed babka is a traditionally Ukrainian flavor and very popular among the babkas. And then we have the cookies and the baklava. And then over there we have our Ukrainian breads. They're still fairly new, but it was a very large project for us, because we knew we wanted to have Ukrainian bread in here. We wanted it to be kind of like a uniting force for the local Ukrainian population and community. In addition to that, with the start of the war, there were a lot of Ukrainian refugees coming to Boston, and we wanted them to have a place where they could feel at home and feel safe and feel welcomed. And so that was a very important part of our mission statement for us, to kind of represent that Ukrainian pride in Boston. It plays out in daily things like our menu. We have our most popular cake flavor is meduvik, which is a honey cake, a very traditional Ukrainian cake. And in addition to that, when we are hiring people to join our team, we're trying to look for Ukrainian refugees who don't have such wide opportunities to get hired elsewhere with a language barrier, and so we're always happy to have them here. We love the locals. We have people at this point who we know by name, and we know their order, and we know what they're going to come for. And when we were actually building out the space, so many of them would stop by and kind of just cheer us on, and we're so excited for this to open. We can't wait. We will love to have a bakery in the community. So it's been really nice to get to know the locals and to become friends with them. Yeah. There's a few different avenues that I've kind of been contemplating and just seeing where, in a way, life takes me. But I definitely want to expand and open multiple locations in the Boston area and potentially beyond. So that's a work in progress right now. We're focusing primarily on growing this space as much as we can before we expand to other places, but that's definitely a goal of mine. In addition to that, we have some exciting news coming soon, actually, and this has to do with Boston College because it's through a connection I made at BC where we will be potentially going off into a slightly different direction that has to do with tech. Tech as it relates to the baking industry. So that's coming soon, and I'm excited for that. So I have two pieces of advice that one piece of advice I personally operate on all the time, and the second piece I give when people ask me about the business. The first advice is discipline is greater than motivation. There's going to be ups and downs to every journey, to every business journey, and a person who's disciplined can push through the lows until they once again reach a high and the motivation returns. Because when things are going horribly wrong, you don't have motivation, you just want to quit. But someone who's really passionate and just disciplined to the things that they feel obligated to will be able to get through those lows. So that's kind of a personal piece of advice that I operate by. In terms of the business journey, I tell people if you can be happy doing something other than entrepreneurship, do it. Because entrepreneurship is one of those things that is as rewarding as it is at times brutally difficult and exhausting. And it really takes someone who just fully is committed and loves the business entrepreneurship journey to, I think, be able to succeed in it. So we work with a nonprofit that was actually founded by my friend and her husband. It's called Mriya. Mriya means dream in Ukrainian. They work a lot with supplying first aid help for soldiers in Ukraine who are in very hot spots of the violence and the aggression. So yeah, we work with them closely and we do what we can to support them for fundraisers, and I encourage you all to support.